So your family history, my family history, we don't really know it. I mean, do you prefer to tell me about it first?
That's a good question.
Your family history is maybe fun to learn. Mine might be fun to learn. I'll just ask you, where are you from?
I'm from Portland, Oregon. My parents are both from southern Vietnam, and my dad used to tell me stories all the time about how he and his family would live in Vietnam, how they immigrated from Vietnam separately to Portland, Oregon. Um, and I have a lot of family that have come over from Vietnam to the United States in different ways. So that's my family history. I'm living in Duluth, Minnesota, though, which is a lot different than it's a lot different than Portland, Oregon.
Cool. Were you were you born in Portland?
Yeah.
Cool. It's beautiful there. Very beautiful there.
Have you been?
Yeah, I visited before my friend who lives there. And I visited Seattle and Portland. Myself, I'm from San Diego, California. I'm from San Diego, California.
That's cool.
I moved to the North San Francisco Bay Area. And then when I was 13, I moved to Pennsylvania. I didn't like living out in the East, from the West to the East. It was just not something I enjoyed. But then I moved to Colorado. I lived for 25 years. And now I live in Kansas. Right now I live in Kansas. I recently moved and it's just very different. I moved
How did
3 months ago.
how did you go from Colorado to Kansas?
I met my partner and I live with her. Oh, I followed her
Oh,
to Kansas.
gotcha.
She's from Kansas, so I followed her.
Where in Colorado did you live? I went to Colorado for the first time last year. My girlfriend, her brother and his wife recently had a baby. And so we were in Fort Collins for like a week. And Fort Collins is so beautiful. It's so gorgeous.
Yeah, that area is very different. Fort Collins is very different from Denver, which is in the south. And that's very different from Colorado Springs. All three are just different. Just the areas that they're in. They're just.
Where's your family from?
We're from Kansas. I'm from Kansas. I moved to California, but now here I am back in Kansas. But my parents are both from Kansas and Missouri. My grandparents, they met in Missouri at a deaf school. One of my grandparents is from I grew up there and I grew up in California. And I stayed in California. I was born in Kansas, but I grew up in California.
Oh, that's sweet.
My mother's family is 6 generations deaf. Her side of the family, 6 generations deaf. And my dad is 4 generations deaf.
Really?
If you're curious about my family's history, I'm curious, your family, did you move are you first generation in
My
America?
dad told me that, yeah, it was my dad and my mom that immigrated to Portland. My dad immigrated in, I want to say, in like 1980. He said that after like the U.S. left Vietnam in 1975, there was a whole lot of turmoil going on. And so I guess when he turned 21, he told me that he left in the middle of the night, got on a boat, and I can't remember which country they went to, but he might have said that he went to like a refugee camp in Malaysia, where he said that he just hung out in like a camp playing soccer like all day for like 8 months. And then I think he was sponsored through, I think he said Malaysia.
Where was he? Okay, that makes sense.
And then I think he was sponsored through like a Catholic charity. And then he got to Portland. And then I'm not terribly sure on the specifics of how my mom immigrated, but she did something similar, I believe. And then if you've heard the term boat people, that's where that comes from. My parents are both boat people because they immigrated through boats. Yeah. It's interesting though. My parents, they didn't meet until they both of them moved to Portland. And I guess they met through my mom's uncle. Yeah, I guess they grew up in the same village. When I went to Vietnam, when I was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever, my grandparents on both of my mom and my dad's side had farms in the same village. They were, it was a 10-minute walk away on like the same river. It was so interesting.
It's crazy that they didn't meet in that small village, but they met in the United States.
Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable.
It means that it really was meant to be.
I guess so. It's quite the story, I think.
I'm curious. Do you speak both languages?
Yeah, I speak Vietnamese and English. And Vietnamese is kind of weird. It's a lot different than English in that it's tonal. Whenever I try to like describe something to like my girlfriend, like I'll have to tell her with like my hands how I want her tone to go, like whether I want it to like go up, whether I want it to go down, whether I want it to like be really sudden. It's in Vietnamese school in kindergarten, I was in a class of I think there were like over 100 kids, but there were 5 teachers that showed the different tones with their hands. There were 5 teachers, and so when they were teaching the tones, all of them would make like they would do the tones with their hands. I think so. There's like a tone that goes. It's called like suck, and you'd make like this motion, and then there's one that goes like this way, and then there's one that looks like a question mark. There's one that looks like a squiggly line, and then there's one that's like a period that's like underneath. And I think that one's my favorite because every time that the teacher would say like that tone, it would punch the air, and that made a huge impression on my kindergarten brain. Yeah, Vietnamese is weird. I don't know.
It's cool. Did you speak Vietnamese at home and then English at school? Did you like flip flop back and forth?
So my girlfriend is white, so I speak English with her. But whenever I'm talking to my family, like my grandma will call, I'll speak Vietnamese to her. My uncle who calls, we'll switch between like English and Vietnamese. Sometimes I'll mix the two, which is like a very American Vietnamese thing to do. Yeah.
My kid's a coda, child of a deaf adult. And sometimes, when they speak to me, they speak in sign language, but at school it's in English. At home with family, it's signing, and then at school it's English.
What does mixing look like? What words? What does the mixing look like of like ASL and English? I'm very curious.
Speaking, using your voice, and signing. It's like when you're a kid and then signing with me and they're speaking English and writing English and signing with me. It's like mixing both languages, signing and using English, sometimes using your voice with English signs. It's like Simcom, signing while speaking at the same time. Bimodality.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. That's cool.
Do you practice Vietnamese culture? Like eat their food or practice their traditions?
So I cook Vietnamese food all the time. I don't know if you've heard of like pho, but
oh, that's my favorite.
Isn't it good?
That.
It's really good.
It's really good.
Okay, one more question. Your girlfriend is white and she speaks English.
Right.
Is she learning Vietnamese? Is she trying to communicate with you?
I try to teach her words here and there. I actually had an idea where I would get a label maker and then write the words for whatever object is in the house in Vietnamese. It's kind of hard, though, to put the different tones on. So
yeah, like it's like baby signs, like milk. It's like ASL is definitely more structured language. You can't just go word by word by word by word. It's like everything combined. You can't just get words and combine them. It's in your eyebrows, your mouth, your facial expressions, all in one, the structure, not just words. The same, like the word run. Like if you're physically running, like if you're seeing me run, it's like this. The other sign would be like if my nose was running. Or like I'm like running, like a run in my stockings. Or running for president. All these different signs for one word, but they're all in one. It makes, it's a difference. It definitely makes a difference.
Vietnamese is very similar too, because the different words are made up of like compound words. So like say like oh my god, I'm blanking. Yeah, you'll just take Jesus. But yeah, so
Can't think?
Kind of. Like, I was just thinking, like, so let me explain more. Vietnamese words are one syllable each, but you'll take different syllables and you'll like put them together to make, like more complicated meaning words, So like what you were saying about running, like the word for running in Vietnamese just means like run. But if you, but you can like put it together with like other words to make it mean, to give it more nuance. So like my dad he'll say a phrase he'll like ask me to go on runs, like more leisure, like casual runs, and he'll like put like the word for running with the word for walking together to sort of like say like, oh, I want to go for a run, but like, a casual run. Yeah, and then there's like another word for like, you can put like running with, I think there's like a compete, or like, yeah, it's like a contest to say like, oh, do you want to like race against each other? I've never thought about how to explain this in words before.
It's like an adverb. Like, if you're running fast in sign language, you would have this face that would say like, I'm running fast. Or if I was running slow, I'd like say I'm running slow, and I'd show my face this way, and I'd show that I wasn't really caring. I'm casually running. It's all about facial expressions with sign language, and with, verbal and oral languages, it's with your voice.